Here we have a dissection of the female cat reproductive system. And I might be unsure at first if this is a male or a female. So I take a closer look. I might think that this is a penis, and I'm not quite sure. So I look for the 3-tube structure, and I can see it right away. I see the 3 tubes here, and I know then that this is a female. So looking at the tube on the top, this one here, the first tube is the urethra, and then the tube in the middle, this one here, is the vagina, and the tube on the bottom that I can't quite see under here is the rectum. Under here, there it is. So, coming to the urethra, I can follow the urethra up, and what I see is the bladder. This sac is the bladder. And then if I look at what goes into the bladder, I can see these 2 skinny tubes leading into the bladder. These here, here's one. And those are the ureters. And I can follow them up and see that they're coming from the kidney. Here it is here. Okay, so here's the ureter coming from the kidney and going down into the bladder. And now, so that's the bladder with the 2 ureters going in and the urethra coming out. Here's the urethra. And now the tube behind the bladder is the vagina. Way down here near the exit from the body, it's the vagina. And then I can see down here. And then I can see this thickening of it, and that thickening is the cervix. So I can see here this kind of white piece where the vagina thickens, that's the cervix. And then above that, anterior to the cervix, is the body of the uterus, or the uterine body. And the uterine body quickly splits into the 2 uterine horns. So I can see these long structures are the uterine horns, identical on each side. Right, I can see the 2 uterine horns and how big they are. And the uterine horn, where the uterine horn ends, I have a very small fallopian tube and a very small ovary. And that's right here. Right here, this little circle is the fallopian tube and the ovary. Let's see if I can see it better. Right, I would say that little tube, there we go. That little white tube is the fallopian tube, and the ovary is here. Maybe this little white circle, or maybe this. So the ovaries are very small, the fallopian tube is quite small, and the uterine horn is really large. So the uterine horn comes down to the uterine body, and then there's the cervix. This tube on the top is the urethra. Then there's the cervix, and then there's the vagina. And now here I can't see where they join, but the urethra and the vagina are going to join. And in the female cat, there's only one opening from the body. And here, that's here, right? And that one opening right here is the urogenital sinus. Okay, so the urogenital sinus, which is then going to break apart into the urethra and the vagina and continue up to show the connections to the bladder and to the uterus and to the fallopian tubes and ovaries. And that is the female reproductive system in the cat.